Hey, welcome back to our podcast, your go-to source for all things real estate and lifestyle in the heart of Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Jackson Christian Berry.
And I'm Jean Kristen Berry.
And together, we're here to guide you through the vibrant world of Fort Worth and surrounding suburb living.
We believe in creating a community where everyone feels at home. And that's why we're committed to bringing you honest, expert advice in a fun and friendly way. From the bustling streets of downtown to the serene suburbs, we've got the scoop on what makes each area unique.
Each week, we'll dive into the latest market trends, offer tips for both buyers and sellers, and share insider knowledge to help you make informed decisions. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about some of the Fort Worth charming neighborhoods, you're in the right place. Let's jump into today's episode. Howdy, folks, and welcome back to Welcome Home Fort Worth. Today, we are talking home selling.
We are.
You get a car, you get a home, you get a home.
And one with a pool.
That's right, that's right. So today, we do this every single month. If you've been listening to us for a while, you know that we do this. We just like to, again, the statistic says that every 7 to 13 years is when people move.
Yep.
Okay. So the average person is not engaging in buying or selling a property on a frequent basis, right?
Yep.
And so we want to just always provide you a refresher of what it looks like to do that when you're ready to do that, and what it takes and kind of the process is and all that kind of stuff. And so that's what we're doing today. Today is your home selling refresher on how to sell your home. So let's jump in. First off, pick a real estate agent. Let's just jump there. Pick a real estate agent. You probably need to interview them. When you interview them, you're going to sit down with them. Ask them the questions that are important to you. I think just as advice from me, not trying to sell us or anything, I just think that really what I noticed is probably the most important is this person's going to be acting as a third party for you. They're going to be acting on your behalf, right? So they're going to be going to buyer's agents. They're going to be going to title executives. They're going to be going to lenders. I mean, just all these people on your behalf. So is this somebody that you want working on your behalf? Is this somebody that you feel like you can trust when you sit down with them to work on your behalf and to do that in a way that you believe should be done? So if you're a kind of person that says, I want a hound dog, I want somebody who's going to be aggressive and does this person give you aggressive vibes? Are you the kind of person that kind of does what we preach is, we catch more flies with honey than we do with vinegar. And so we believe people want to do things for people they like. And so we're going to try to create those relationships. Do you like the person that you're interviewing? So I'd start there first, just on general vibes. Obviously, you want to know what they're going to do for you to sell your home. And approach that. I think when we talk marketing, I've been using this. I don't know if you've heard me say this yet. When I talk with people who are talking about selling their homes, I share this. The biggest thing that I have learned just in real estate over the last 3 years, and it's really not, you don't learn it in real estate. You learn it in marketing classes, and you learn it with marketing companies, in my opinion. What you learn is that marketing that is like to everyone is marketing that nobody hears because nobody is being talked to directly. And we see that a lot with social media strategies on how to put reels out and stuff. Like if you don't hook somebody in the first 3 seconds, they're not going to watch your videos, all this kind of stuff. And so when it comes to marketing, make sure the person knows what they're doing when it comes to marketing. But for us, what I notice and what I love, and we had a podcast to listen to that really shared this, and I thought it was just brilliant. There's really 4 types of buyers. If you draw a grid and you kind of have the plus sign, right? Top is active, bottom's passive, right? Left sides know them, right sides don't know them. That's 4 categories of buyers. Buyers that are in the market, buyers that are on the sidelines, buyers that we know that we have access to through our contact information or whatever, and buyers that we don't know, that exist kind of in this void of life,
internet world.
Yeah, that exist out there. And so you want to market to all 4 of those buyers because that's really... Your business could come from any of those. Some of those way more than others, based on some of the things the National Association of Realtors has reported on.
Right.
And so, for a buyer that, is active and them, that's somebody you meet at an open house. Open houses are important because you're going to meet buyers in the market today who you will then know, and you have their access to their contact information. And so we can market to them directly, which is fantastic. Buyers that are on the sidelines, but you still know them. Any good agent should have a CRM. It's called a client relationship management software. And it just is a database of people's addresses and emails and stuff that we have that we can send information to about your home sale, right?
And maybe they've expressed at some point they want to make a move.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, it helps you reach the maximum amount of people. Buyers that are passive that you don't know, that's usually going to be more social media is what we find. That's how we can grab them. You can do social media in a lot of different ways. Social media is all, especially today, because the algorithms are really taking from TikTok. It's really going to be about the quality of the content, and is it strategic? Instead of starting with, "Hi, this is Jackson Christian Berry with Keller Williams Realty, and this is 123 Main Street," right? That you've lost people. It's like I said, "Hi, this is Jackson Christian Berry," right? Are you hooking people with your reels? Are you doing this kind of things? And so, social media is kind of the blurb there. And then really, for us, what I have found that we've really, where we put most of our energy, truly, those things are important, but we want to reach people who are active in the market, first off, because they're in the market today.
And they will move fast.
But that we don't know. We want to make sure a lot of our energy is spent on that, of getting it to the most people that are actually looking to buy, right? And so that's where we focus on kind of our listing launch procedure, right? And so how are we going to debut this listing and putting it on the market and getting it out there? And so we do that through a lot of different ways on our team, but that's going to be through connecting you with people you need, handymen, repair people, painters, whatever you need to get your home ready to go. It's going to be getting your home photographed effectively with good photography. Shout out to Daydream Photography, just real quick.
Shout out. We love you guys.
We love them so much. We are so proud to be in business with them. They're an incredible company, and they serve you as a seller so well. They give you a whole website build out that you can put on your Zillow profiles and your Realtor.com, where people can do 3D tours. It's incredible the stuff that they do on there.
Floor plans, measurements, all the things.
It's just incredible. And so we'll stage it or virtually stage it if we need to. That's a big part of our launch procedure. We're going to get you to do, we mentioned this in our Tips and Tricks podcast for this month when we filmed that. We're going to get you to tell us a little bit about what living in the home's been like, because that's going to be stuff that people can't see when they walk into the home. So we want to make sure we're sharing the narrative of that, the marketing of that, and marketing to people who would appreciate the experiences you've had in the home, right? Whatever that looks like.
I call that unseen value.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's living in the home. Like, who wouldn't love to have kind of a trial period to see, do I like living in this home? That kind of stuff. Yeah, it's great.
What is it they used to say, that buyers, they decide with their mind, but they pick with their heart?
Cool.
Yeah. So
I love that.
Helping them hear the story.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. The heart clicks. That's interesting. I think I typically see the heart click first, and then it clicks in the mind to say, okay, let me figure out if this actually works.
It really does. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. And then we just debuted on a big opening weekend. You're going to have an open house. We're going to social media the mess out of your property. We're going to send out a database email to our database that probably, we got like 4K people there or something like that, to just notify them, hey, we're on the market. We're going to celebrate. And then once we're on the market, passive versus active feedback, we're going to be really tracking what the market's telling us about the home. And then we're going to make sure we're tracking your competition and make sure we're on top of all that. So that's like how we talk about that. Every agent talks about that differently. Those are the things I think that are important when it comes to marketing specifically. Does your agent know who they're marketing to?
Yeah.
That's crucial, y'all, because otherwise it's just falling on deaf ears. I think that's a phrase, right?
And really, do they even have a plan?
Yeah. Is there a game
plan?
Like
a launch plan, a real plan for how that's going to go?
Yeah, totally. So again, that's how we feel like we make the most buzz about your home. And then the feedback and the track in the market, as days on market goes up, and it's coming down technically right now, but as we still have 3 months supply on the market, as days on market still averaging about 55 to 60, right? And so there's still time in between that first weekend and getting into contract. And so how does the agent support you during that time to make sure that it's still being marketed and make sure it's still being shown, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So,
and because you do have data that's happening every single week with your listing, your agent, even if there's not a ton to tell you, your agent still will have information that you need to know. Well,
and my favorite, one of the agents that I follow, I think is just dynamic in Philadelphia, he talks a ton about this communication guarantee. So is your agent promising that you will hear from them at the very minimum once a week, or twice a week, whatever their communication guarantee is? Because I think that's just so important. Truly, if you look at the National Association of Realtors reports they do on the biggest complaints about realtors,
just disappear.
People never hear from them.
Yeah.
People just don't receive communication from them. They sign them up and then they won't hear about them until there's an offer. And it's like, y'all, that's just not. So That's all stuff to think about as you interview agents. Just keep that in mind. Marketing is a big piece, but also on top of that, just do you connect with them? Is it somebody that you want working on your behalf?
Right.
I think that's really important to kind of trust your gut there on that front. So then hopefully all of that got you in a contract.
Right.
So all of the marketing, all of the managing the market and expectations, hopefully that got you in a contract. And if it hasn't yet, it will soon. So get you in a contract. What do we do next? What kicks off then?
So if you're already under contract,
you just got under contract.
It's already negotiated.
In fact, you're right. We need to backtrack.
Okay.
Negotiation. We received an offer. Let's start.
Received an offer. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. What happens then?
Hey everyone, real quick before we get back to the show, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, we'd love to connect with you. We post a lot of content like this in case you miss an episode, along with more Fort Worth and surrounding suburb local insights and finds. You can find our team at the Christenberry Group on all social platforms, or you can connect with Jackson and I personally on our Facebook and our Instagram accounts. Just be prepared for lots of pictures of my grandson on either account. Now back to the show. So you receive an offer, and then your agent is going to present the offer to you. So that involves quite a few steps.
Yeah.
So one of the steps is making sure if there's financing that the buyer really is qualified.
Sure.
So you call the lender and having a conversation, and can the lender really hit the close date? So there's some research, I guess you call it, that needs to be done before the presentation happens of the offer. In the presentation, there ought to be a net sheet that shows you the estimated profit you're going to receive off the property, so you can know your numbers. So you can make a good decision about whether you should accept or not accept that offer. And then also they're going to give you options. So the options are going to be, you can counter the offer, you can accept the offer, or you can reject the offer. So those are kind of where you got to decide what you want to do. The agent's going to recommend you based on the activity you've had, based on what they've seen with the competition. They're going to say, this is a great offer, or I think you can get a little more, or why don't we go back at this, or how about let's get this one done and get it locked up. So they'll be making some ideas.
Well, and you've always been great about this, but I also think every agent we admire, kind of even in our brokerage, says this, and that's just that they go back and ask a question. Unless it's just like you're sold on that first one and you're just giddy about it, like, we're going to go ask a question. We're just going to go see what wiggle room we got to play with this thing. Because if you don't ask the questions, you don't find out. And that they may not be firm on the thing that you're like, it'd be better if we had that, or it may save you $2,000, may save you $3,000, whatever. It may get that back in your pocket. So just asking the questions, being proactive. Again, I'm going to cite, we've said it so many times this month in April on our podcast, but like, you are going to catch more flies with honey than vinegar, y'all. You just are. And so keeping that relationship up with the buyer's agent, connecting with them, developing that relationship where if it comes time and they need to do something for you as a seller, they're going to be like, I like Jackson, or I like Gene. And we're
going to advocate
we'll work
for them
a little bit here.
Yeah, it really does work that way too, because you can get a lot of intel from the agent, because the agent can tell you this person likes this, the seller, the seller likes this or not. They can tell you all those kinds of things. Can tell you the buyer has to have this. Like we usually go back when we get an offer in the door. We'll usually go back to the agent and say, if it came in under the list price, we'll say, this seems a little low. I want to make sure I bring you back a really great offer or a great counter.
Sure.
So can your guy have any wiggle room? We want to find out, where are we on the deal? Do they have any cash?
Yes.
Are they out of cash?
And that takes you back to the concept of like just a broker. Now you have your broker's license, which is awesome because you're super cool like that. But like the concept of the broker is just somebody putting the deal together. It's just that. And so it's just somebody helping the what this person wants, somebody else helping what this person wants, find out how this works best together. For the best terms we only care about the person we're representing. So best terms for our folks. But in order to get the best terms for our folks, sometimes you got to help the other people as well, and that tends to work out pretty good.
Yes, it does.
It tends to work out pretty good.
Yeah. So, those are all the questions. Like you said, you got to ask the questions.
And then you go back to comparing, you may have said this and I apologize, comparing offer to apples. That's a big thing we do, because you may see an offer come in at your list price. You may see an offer come in below your list price, but that offer that's at list price may be asking for $10,000 in concessions, right? And so that's really not a list price offer.
Right.
That's really considered probably $10K off list price, right? And so just keep that in mind. We'll help you. We'll talk nets. Nets is what we're going to really help you identify, is what is your net from each of these offers. And what hoops do we have to jump through with each of the offer, right? So if FHA, VA loans, both of those have different restrictions and a little more, they're going to be a little more picky during inspections and stuff like that. If there's things to be picky about, conventional is not going to have as much, and then obviously cash is going to remove, could completely remove the appraisal contingency, which is fantastic. It's one less hoop you have to jump through. So all really, really exciting stuff.
Yeah. So we'll talk to you about your risk. What's the risk of this one actually getting to closing?
Yeah.
And help you understand that.
Yeah. So really exciting stuff. And then you accept one.
Yes.
So you've accepted an offer, kicks off. What happens then?
Well, at that point, your buyer's going to deposit your earnest and option money.
That's the buyer's job. We're going to track that.
We're going to keep up with that because we really prefer. We like it when the buyer will deposit that money with the title before they schedule their inspections.
Yeah.
So at that point, then they're going to schedule an inspection, and we're going to help facilitate that and make sure you know how you get your house ready for the inspection.
Right.
So that's next.
Yep.
And then the inspection happens, and if there's a repair request, we're negotiating that.
Yeah, the buyer's agent will bring us requests of stuff they want you to do or money they want you to pay for it. We'll help you know what's normal, what's reasonable, if there is something that's reasonable or normal.
Right.
Or if they're just being, catty or whatever, I guess is the way to say that.
Yeah.
And we'll help you navigate how do we push back against cattiness.
Right. Because we only go for, if it's broken, then there needs to be some kind of a fix for that. If it's cosmetic, they saw it when they did the walkthrough, so that's not something we address.
Yeah.
If it's worn, then depending on the situation, that may need a contribution of some money of some sort.
Exactly.
So those are the things that we look at when we're negotiating that.
And then really what kicks in there is mostly, just to be upfront, it's mostly just project management.
Yeah, from that point.
From your realtor side, just so you know, and really from the, you have the appraisal that's probably been ordered at that point, but besides the appraisal hasn't happened most likely right then. And so really it's just tracking deadlines. The contract has multiple deadlines depending on what your property needs to transfer. And so we're going to track the deadlines. We're going to make sure we're checking in, making sure we're on top of, okay, this person hasn't gotten you that today. I'm calling over here. Why haven't you gotten them this yet? Or whatever. Like you're just project managing the whole process to make sure there's no surprises, to make sure we know everything long before it gets done.
Well, because there can be up to, 20 different parties involved in getting the contract to the closing table, maybe more.
Yeah.
So as a project manager, none of those parties really take on the responsibility per se of getting it closed.
Yeah, because they do
their part.
They care about this thing.
Yeah, they're doing their piece.
It's the agent's job to make sure we're working in your favor and getting what you need done in the process.
Exactly. So we're the ones to get it down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll navigate that, but then appraisal might happen if it's a finance offer that you accepted. And so appraisal could bring negotiation points depending on if it meets value or if it comes in less. If there's a difference in the missing cost there, then we'll help you navigate the negotiations of all that and figure out if that's worth that. There's a lot of things to talk about there, so we'll probably do a whole separate podcast on that, how to handle it in appraisal.
We interview our appraiser.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
How to handle that. Appraisers are so fun to talk to because you just if you're a real estate agent who hasn't talked to an appraiser yet, you aren't thinking the way they're thinking.
And they do think different.
They think very differently, and if you don't think like them, then you're really setting your clients up for failure if you're not thinking like them, because they're the person who's going to dictate that home's value if an appraisal is required. So all very interesting. But then really it's kind of just getting you prepped for heading out. Again, we're tracking deadlines. We're making sure things are met. That's the biggest thing we're doing kind of in the background besides these kind of big moments that happen.
Really, your agent should tell you 3 main things.
Okay, tell me.
They should tell you, did we make it through the option period and did you pass the inspection?
Yeah.
Did you get it through the appraisal period?
If you had one.
If you had one. And then lastly, if there was financing, did the buyer come out of underwriting at the end? Are we clear to close?
Yeah. Those are the 3 things you'll feel. There are things happening in the background, but those are the 3 things where it's like, if there's going to be an issue with the contract, it's going to be one of those things. Yeah, every time.
Typically.
Yeah.
So after that point, we're just giving you instructions on how to close,
how to get moved, where do you take your utilities off, when to turn those off, when to not, what details regarding closing, and if you need movers, we'll connect you with that. Whatever. We're just helping you get ready for your to leave. Then it's closing day, closing time. We just got like a copyright infringement just for that.
Oh,
I'm sure. I never know. But if you did, it's great. Because if we did that, it's great because it means I nailed that key.
Oh, okay.
I nailed that note, which I feel like I did.
That means you're just in the song.
Nailed it. But all that to say, it's closing time. We sit down, we sign papers. It's officially done. And then it's just kind of, we'll check in probably pretty soon after we close just to make sure your move's going well. We'll check in.
Maybe making sure you close on your second property.
Sure. Yeah. If you're doing buy and sell, that's a whole separate part of that.
Which would be part of that process would be making sure that everything lines up and the timing's right for the transfer of money from the funds of the sale.
Yeah. If you're a contingent offer, we promise that we need to do an episode on that.
On
specific contingencies, because that's a big question we get a lot of times is how do I do that? What's that look like?
Yeah,
so
that'd be good.
We need to do a whole episode on that. That's good.
To come.
Yeah, it's happening. But besides that, you close on your house. So anything else we need to talk about? I also apologize, y'all. We didn't mention this in the beginning. When your agent sits down with you and you're interviewing agents or you're talking to the agent, you want to use whatever, make sure that they're evaluating in comparable sales first off. Make sure they're also evaluating your active competition. Those are the two things I always forget to mention, but they're really, really crucial to that appointment. You've got to know what homes have actually sold for, right? So you can kind of get a price range for that. And then you got to know what your competition's at so you know where you want to place in.
I call that the dream crusher.
Okay, hit me.
Because if you based your price on past sales and you got it dialed in, you know what you're doing, but you didn't really spend time on your competition. As soon as you go live, it'll be like, wah, wah.
Because there's people out there that are giving better deals. And so it's just you're undercut like that. So you'll sit longer, it'll take longer, and potentially might have other people come up and do the same thing. So it's something to track.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind comps are important there, pricing the home. I'm going to recommend, just for what it's worth, this may be kind of a nuanced thing. Also at that appointment, have the agent, if you've decided you don't want to sign that day or whatever, at least have the agent walk you through the paperwork so that you know what hiring them looks like. So I'll add that as well, is just make sure you know what it looks like to hire that agent and just ask the questions like, if I decide I don't want to be in the contract with you anymore, what does that look like? Ask those hard questions.
What's the commission?
Yeah, what is this? All kind of stuff, because that's going to be really crucial for you to know, so you know what you're getting into, right? So, okay, I think those were the two things I just realized I forgot. So,
great things to remember.
Great things.
Yes, those are important things.
Cool. Any other things?
No, I think that kind of gives you a good high kind of a vision of the process of selling. And what you want to keep an eye for when you're talking to agents trying to figure out who you're going to use. Yeah. So trust is a big deal, and that's a biggie on it, on the list. Okay.
Well, thank y'all. If you have questions, this is one of those things, again, we say this every week on our market update, or every month in our market update. Real estate's hyper local. This kind of stuff's hyper specific as well.
Right.
Because it's going to really depend on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to get it for the most money? Or the quickest, are you on a timeline, a deadline? Do you have some time to play with price? We can do that. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Be glad to help you anyway you can. So
yes, we will. Give us a call.
Okay. Well, thank y'all again. We appreciate it, and we'll see you back next week for Welcome Home Fort Worth.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the podcast today. If this has been valuable for you at all, we sure could use your help getting the word out to more people. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give us a follow and consider taking just maybe 2 minutes to leave us a review. Both do wonders for our show with the algorithm, and on both platforms, all you got to do, head over to our show page. On Spotify, hit 3 dots and select rate. And on Apple, all you gotta do is just scroll down to the show and say leave a review. So just click that. If you're seeing this on Facebook or Instagram, a like or comment puts all the good vibes out in the algorithm for us. And on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new episode. Join us again next week for more Fort Worth housing news and updates. Until then, y'all have a great week.